أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You have just come across one of the best videos on YouTube. I am not even kidding. The material that is present in this video will change your life if you implement it, and I'm not even kidding. I know you hear it all the time on all of these videos, but I am being very, very genuine. This tool that I'm about to give you will change your life. However, before I get into the video, I make it known with every video that I make that I am not a motivational speaker or a influencer. All I want to be known to you as is a tool that if you can take, you can become a better Muslim overall, i.e. Muslim amelioration. For those following with the Muslim amelioration chart, this will go under the Iman sub-aspect of the spiritual sub-aspect of Muslim amelioration. However, this practice that I'm about to tell you also heavily improves the mental sub-aspect and every other sub-aspect as well. And with that, let us not waste any more time. Also, this video has a very good practice, so I recommend you watch the video in full. So what is this tool that I've been talking about? It is called Shaitan scripting. I have mentioned it in videos prior, but I've never really gotten true in depth into this practice. So the backstory behind this practice is basically I used to be in a very bad place mentally. Physically, mentally, socially, spiritually, all of that I was very bad in. Spiritually, Islam wasn't present. Mentally, I wanted to kill myself, and it got so bad to the point where I was just like, I just want to go. Physically, I was weak and fat. I've been through this in a video that I'll link there in the Muslim amelioration. The full guide on it. But what got me out of this was a particular mindset and this practice that I had to develop over time with journaling and reflection. So before I get into the process on Shaitan scripting, you need to have a particular mindset or a particular enlightenment when it comes to how you think of your thoughts. So I'm going to give you that right now. You are not the thinker. You've probably heard this a couple of times or maybe other places, but what does it mean? Well, basically, you don't create your own thoughts. Thoughts are simply things in your brain that pass by you, and you are simply the observer. You can pick and choose which thoughts you want or which thoughts you associate with or believe in or etc. But the point still stands that you are the observer. Think of this is going to be important. Think of your mind as a completely separate world, each with different landscapes and different tribes and people. You are the observer. This is your world. However, in this world, there is also other forces. For example, thoughts. Think of thoughts as almost like other people. You can choose to befriend these people, associate with them, believe in them, trust in them, or you can choose to hate them and deny them. For example, if a thought of anguish or a thought of grief comes to you, you should disassociate with that. Now, in this world, there is also another force. Shaitan. Every human being has a jinn attached to them, and this is known. And this jinn will try and whisper thoughts that are bad for you, i.e., he wants to take control of this world that you actually have, or you actually should own. So in other words, Shaitan and you are fighting over this world. And in order to do so, you have to try and gain control over and gain influence or leadership over the people. So even the thoughts of hope, Shaitan wants to have those thoughts of hope because he wants to redefine what hope is inside your mind. The thoughts of sadness, Shaitan wants to deploy against you. And so, for example, if you are depressed, thoughts to come kill yourself, think of those as individual people, and they are trying to take you down. So Shaitan scripting is the process in which we become aware of not only the enemies that Shaitan are deploying against us, but also their motives. Why is Shaitan deploying these thoughts? Okay, I'm going to stop there for a bit. I want to emphasize something to you. If a thought to kill yourself comes to you, it's from Shaitan. There is no doubt. these aren't my words either. It means that Shaitan is deploying them for a certain reason. All of these bad thoughts, when it comes to ego, when it comes to hopelessness, when it comes to despair, anguish, meaningless, lack of purpose, lack of discipline, lust, laziness, all of these thoughts are from Shaitan. You have to have firm belief and conviction in this fact. These thoughts are from Shaitan. Shaitan actually truly exists in your mind. And yes, he truly does want to take you down and take you to Jahannam. Jahannam does exist. Jannah does exist. Allah exists. Islam is reality and not a belief. You have to establish a firm truth on this. It cannot be that you think of these thoughts as they are just, it's from Shaitan and whatever. No. You have to treat it like it is reality, like really there is an enemy trying to take over my mind. Okay, now let me get back into the world aspect. So basically, right? This world in your brain is your complete perception. If you think about it, this world in your brain determines what the world outside of your brain is. For example, one person can think of war as enjoyable, and another can think of it as the most traumatizing event to happen. Why? It's because their worlds and their thoughts that reside inside them are completely different. Another example, one can see a hospital bed or a hospital room as a traumatizing thing, or one can see it as a saving. Again, because perception. So Shaitan scripting is the process in which we redefine what our thoughts are and what our perception is in our brain. This is why I said, if you are depressed, if you have PTSD, or if you have any mental issues, anxiety, whatever, this will help you heaps, to the point where I think it can cure it more than therapy ever could. Shaitan scripting will give you the definite answer with logic, reasoning, as well as you. We are literally figuring out his plot. We are literally figuring out what he is doing in our brain. It cannot be that if you know your enemy inside your brain, that you don't succeed against him. It's impossible. This is your brain. You should be the owner of it. You should be in complete and utter control of your emotions and your thoughts. And you should be aware of every single thing that happens in them. And you should also be aware of Shaitan, the force inside your head that wants to take you down. And in your brain, you should put Shaitan in a cell in this world. And your thoughts should be completely be ruled by the observer, i.e. yourself. Okay, so that was a bunch of information and a bunch of different changes in your mindset. But now I'm going to get into how. How can we actually do Shaitan scripting day to day? And before I get into this, I need to emphasize, you need to believe in the what portion. You need to believe in this hidden world inside your mind, in your perception, and that thoughts will be deployed on by Shaitan. Okay, enough. So let's now go into the how. So there are 2 practices that you will need to do every single day in order for Shaitan scripting to be the most effective. 1 is meditation, and 2 is Shaitan scripting itself. Okay, so meditation. Why meditation? Because in order for you to even, in order for you to write down any thought with Shaitan scripting, you need to be aware of the thought in the first place. In order to catch a thought in its place, you need to be aware. Because we think so much, but we are not even aware of many of the thoughts that come into our brain, and many more of which are from Shaitan. Meditation is the process in which we train our focus and our ability to be aware of our thoughts. If you can be aware of your thoughts and emotions, then you can control them, not the other way around. Okay, so I'm going to teach you a simple way to meditate. First, all I want you to do is I want you to focus on your breath. Focus on in and out. Then you are going to lose your focus. You are going to start thinking about something else. Now, at that moment, this is a critical moment. At that moment, you have to become aware. This isn't something I can explain to you and truly, but just know that when you lose your focus, try and regain your focus. And the more that you do that, then you will start to become more aware of your thoughts and emotions. After you regain your focus, you will then reshift it back to your breath and do it again. This will train you to to notice the thoughts that pop up inside your brain. But an important part here in meditation is when you become aware of the thought, don't start thinking more, because now you just fallen back into the part of thinking. What you will also notice is that you will notice the thought spiral that occurs in your brain. For example, when you start breathing in and out, you can start thinking about the daily chores that you have to do. Then you'll start thinking about vacuuming. Then you'll start thinking about the carpet that you're vacuuming. Then you'll start thinking about the texture of the carpet. Then you're gonna think about something similar that is similar to the texture of the carpet. Or you get what I mean, right? It's a thought spiral. You'll start to become aware. You'll start to be able to trace back. Oh, why was I thinking about tree bark? Oh, it was because that one rough texture of the carpet. It was because I was thinking about the carpet, because I was thinking about vacuuming, because I was thinking about the chores that I have to do. Another way you can do this is just to simply sit in your room and be aware of your thoughts, and then notice them, and then go back into the state of being aware. But then again, that is basically the first method, because you're just focusing on something different. You're just focusing on being aware of your thoughts. But in general, that's meditation. But with that, the point of meditation is to become aware of the thoughts in the first place. That way, Shaitan scripting is more effective. Now, Shaitan scripting. Now that you've come across this entire video, this is the most important part in catching Shaitan in the act. Basically, Shaitan scripting works with two things: a small journal and a bigger journal. And please do not do this on your phone. You need to actually have this on paper. I promise you, it will be way more effective if you do it on your on paper. In order to demonstrate Shaitan scripting, I'm going to assume the role of a couple of different people with a couple of different mindsets that will then help you determine what thoughts Shaitan is deploying inside your brain. And for the sake of example, I'm not going to assume that Shaitan will be deploying any other thoughts of any other category. For example, if I'm depressed, he's only for the example, deploying depressing thoughts. However, this isn't in reality. The Shaitan will probably deploy multiple different types of thoughts that will try and take you down. But again, for the example, to make it simple for you and I'm going to assume only one type of thought. Okay, so basically, first, I am going to assume the role of a depressed person. Now that as a depressed person, I've been doing meditation, I've become slowly but surely aware of the thoughts that are happening inside my brain. So now they come out more clear, and I'm able to catch them and they act faster. So let's say Shaitan says you are worthless. That is a genuine thought. Some people think that they are worthless. This is because of Shaitan. You're basically going to write on paper, you're worthless. The exact thing that he was telling you in like these brackets. Then let's say, you're eating and he says that you don't deserve to eat. Okay. By the way, do not judge these thoughts. Right now, we are simply just writing them down. We will judge them later and figure out why he's doing them in this big journal. Let's say he puts another thought. Kill yourself. Write it down. You look ugly. You're ugly. Like that. You're ugly. I'm sorry. Anyway, you're garbage. Write it down in brackets again. You're garbage. Like that. Now, it may not seem as clear. For example, Shaitan may not say, you're garbage or you're ugly deliberately, but it might be a feeling that pops in your mind. Take that as thought, like he's trying to get me to feel this sort of thing, so I'm going to write it down anyway. Even if it's not deliberate, whatever it's trying to get you to feel, you write it down. That's a very great point as well. Shaitan wants you to feel, not think. He doesn't want you to think about what you are actually thinking and then feel towards that. Rather, he wants you to feel about what you're thinking and then think towards that feeling, if that makes sense. So many times when Shaitan gets you, when I say deploy thoughts, the thoughts make you almost feel that certain thing. For example, Shaitan will deploy thoughts that will try to get you to feel that you want to kill yourself, not thoughts that will make you think, oh wow, should I kill myself? Is it really worth it? And then feel based off what the rational answer is. For example, if you get criticism, Shaitan wants you to feel that, oh, this person is giving criticism, and then think, why is this person giving me criticism? Oh, this person doesn't deserve to. not think, oh, this person is giving me criticism, and then feel, oh, maybe I should improve. If that makes sense. And like I mentioned prior, Shaitan may not like deliberately like tell you you're garbage. He might just get you to feel it. And in that instance, write it down. For example, it might not deliberately pop up in your head, you're worthless. He might just get you to feel you're worthless. And in that instance, you still write it down. Okay. So now that we did the example of a depressed person, we have a couple of different thoughts that he was, or feelings that he was trying to push upon us throughout the day. Now, let's get out our big journal. Basically, what we are going to do is, in combination with the small journal, we are going to write down exactly what he was trying to get us to do. This will help us determine his exact motives and what thoughts he was trying to push upon us. Now, open a blank piece of paper and get your Shaitan scripting journal. Now, basically, we're looking at this thought. You're worthless. What is he trying to get out of this with me? Why is he trying to make me feel I am worthless? Rationally think for yourself, because he might be getting you to think it for a different reason than me. But I'm going to assume that he is trying to get me to feel this way because he wants me to kill myself. This thought preferably, and then next to it you're going to write down his motive. Like that. See, we wrote down the thought, and then we put an arrow next to it saying his actual motive that we have come up with. So basically, I don't know if you can see it now, but we are working backwards, okay? So Shaitan wants to try to get me to kill myself, thus he deployed the thought. But Shaitan scripting is basically working towards the opposite. Okay, this thought is saying I'm worthless, he's trying to get me to kill myself. So you see here that when you're determining in your big journal what he is trying to get you to do, you have to think rationally. Why would Shaitan deploy this thought inside me? How is this going to take over my brain? And what avenue is he trying to take me down from? Again, let's go through all the other thoughts. Now, rationally, again, it could be different for you why he would deploy this thought, but I'm going to assume that Shaitan wants me to get this way so that I feel hopeless or that I feel valueless. So you can see here that I wrote down you don't deserve anything, and then the motive behind that feeling of thought, so that I feel valueless. Now, here's the interesting part. Why does he want me to feel valueless? Likely because he wants me to kill myself. Again, this could be different for you. The ultimate motive can be different for you. But again, I'm just going to assume here that it is. Then you put an arrow if that had popped up anywhere else, or you draw an arrow somewhere else to that thing, like I just did there. So now all the thoughts that I've written throughout the day, I've basically drawn the game plan, or what Shaitan, his motives with these thoughts. So you can check the chart, but basically I wrote down all the thoughts. You're worthless, you don't deserve anything, kill yourself, you're ugly, you're garbage, just like on the journal. And now I have basically drawn a sort of flow chart to every single motive that he is trying to get me to feel. For example, you're worthless, trying to get me to kill myself. You deserve nothing, so that I feel valueless, so that I kill myself. You're ugly, again, so that I feel valueless, kill myself. You're garbage, so that I feel valueless, trying to kill myself. Kill yourself, that's pretty deliberate, so I drew an arrow around to trying to get me to kill myself. Now, at the end of it, for every single thought, we draw a game plan or a sort of action plan that we can do to counteract him. Because now we're aware of our enemy, completely, and we're aware of his plot. Now we have to draw a plan against him. Again, this is a bit complicated, but once you do it every single day, it becomes really easy. And even if it isn't easy, great things are never. So now we look at the two notions of me being valueless and trying to kill myself, and the individual thoughts, and trying to plan out an action plan that we can do to go against it. Now, again, this action plan can be different for you, but again, assuming the general role of someone who is depressed, I'm just going to draw a action plan real quick and then explain it to you. Now, this was a very brief action plan, but basically, against these notions and against these thoughts, I drew up an action plan. So, for example, he wants to get me to kill myself. I wrote, be more happy by gratitude journaling and walking outside, etc. Now, if you're working, like for example, let's say for you, if you're working 15 hours a day in your room, of course you're going to be depressed. So again, an action plan can differ between people, but again, as I mentioned so many times, I'm just drawing the general rules. Now, the other one, like for this one, valueless, he wants me to feel valueless, I drew gain value. Through business, through the gym, through the hygiene routine and looks maxing or whatever, because of this notion, you're ugly, I wrote basically action plans that will target the thoughts, which will then target the notions, which will then target the ultimate motives. So I'm going to do one more example. This video is getting long. I'm just going to do one more example, get a better scope of how we can Shaitan script for a specific individual, not just for someone who's depressed. Back to the mini journal, I'm going to assume the role of someone who has a lot of ego, A, and B, someone with lust. So now we're dueling. We have dual motions that we are assuming. And again, you won't be aware of these notions. By writing them down, you will then become aware. Okay, so let's say throughout the day, Shaitan says to me, you deserve everything. No one else deserves anything. Write that down. That is also a thought from Shaitan. Like so. Yeesh, that's bad writing, but you get what I'm saying. Let's say someone is talking to you and they say something that is intelligent or whatever, and Shaitan makes you feel that what does this person know? Write that down. I'm not even kidding. See, this is why I'm saying that it can differ between so many different things, right? Because there are so many tricks in so many different instances that Shaitan tries to pull, and so you have to write them down and be aware of them. So basically, as you can see here, I wrote, he doesn't know anything. And then on the side, I said, while talking to ... So you get the gist. But now the second thing, which is he wants this person to be addicted to lust. So now we're going to also write down maybe some of the thoughts that Shaitan may put on to this person. So for example, Shaitan, maybe while you're walking, you see a woman and you don't lower your gaze. That's also a thought, not to lower your gaze or to keep looking. So we're going to write that down because he got you to feel like you should keep looking. So like, sort of like that. Again, I wrote in brackets, keep looking. And then on the side, I drew an arrow that said at a woman. Now let's say this person had to talk to someone that was a woman, and Shaitan was getting him to imagine sort of ideas. Again, I know it sounds like really like these are specific examples and weird examples, and they may be a little bit, like weird to talk about, but it needs to be talked about because this is still Shaitan. Now let's say at another part of the day, Shaitan wants you to masturbate. You're going to write it down, because he's trying to get you to feel like you should masturbate. Like so. Yeah, it just says masturbate. But again, while you're doing your day-to-day routine, I would say in general, like, bro, it will be like a couple of pages. Even if you're not depressed, even if you're not anything, Shaitan scripting, if you're doing it properly, will probably be a couple of pages out of a mini journal every single day. But for the sake of the example and for the sake of time, I'm only going to do 1 page. So now this person has done throughout the day. Now let's go to the journal. So the first thought was, you deserve everything. No one else deserves anything. You're gonna write that down like so. Yeah, okay, so basically here it says you deserve everything and no one else does. Basically the thought we wrote down earlier. And next to the arrow it says, trying to get me to feel like I am something. Now again, the next thought was, he doesn't know anything, and this was while talking to someone. So we're going to write that down like so. Over here it says, he doesn't know anything while talking to someone, and we drew an arrow back to this notion because, again, we're assuming that through rationality, this person has thought that it was trying to get me to feel like I am something. But again, think for yourself. Don't make me think for you. First thought he said was to keep looking at a woman when we were walking somewhere. So we're going to write that down. Like there. It says trying lust to implement. I wrote it wrong, but it just basically means trying to implement lust into me, which was that thought. Keep looking at women. The next thought, also the same thing, trying to implement lust. And now we can get into the action plan. So there are two action plans that I wrote for this specific person. Be humble, A, and B for the trying to implement lust category. We wrote do more, do less method, which I explained in the video there that I linked there, and Muslim Amelioration, the Beginner Full Guide. I heavily recommend you watch that. And then the second one, which was lower the gaze. Now again, there are so many thoughts that Shaitan can put to it. In fact, in a specific category, let's say you're talking to a person with a wife, and Shaitan makes you feel like, why does this person have this beautiful woman? I should have her. That would be a thought that would apply to even these two like completely different notions that Shaitan would try and push to you. It would be like an arrow that would apply to both of these. You get what I'm saying, right? But the point of this whole guide was just to show how to definitively write Shaitan's plans for everyone throughout the day. Assalamu alaikum. I'm editing this in post and I realized that I forgot something. But basically, see, I didn't mention most of like the different types of thoughts that Shaitan will put. Because it will differ between person to person. So in the description, and I highly recommend you check this out, I have put a chart, or basically some different thoughts in different categories that Shaitan might put, and most of them apply to us day to day and will apply to you. So I highly recommend you check out that doc as well. Back to the video. Now again, I said it before, but if you are Shaitan scripting, it should be a couple of pages long. Like it should be like a couple of pages. It shouldn't just be like, especially if you're doing it throughout the day, from the moment you wake up to the moment you sleep, it should be that it is a couple of pages, because Shaitan is trying to constantly put thoughts into our brain. And when it comes to these charts, they should be like way bigger. Or because there are so many different thoughts that he could write throughout the day, they should be like, this entire page should be filled out. Wow, it's been an hour since I started recording. But Jazakallah khair for watching this entire video. One thing I want to mention to you though, Shaitan scripting is so powerful. I mean, just the awareness of the thoughts that Shaitan will put inside your brain will cure depression. If you do this properly, the first time that these thoughts happen, okay, fine, whatever, you write them down and then you put them in your journal, whatever. But the second time they happen, you can catch Shaitan right in the act. Like it will happen that you realize like, wait, that thought was from Shaitan. I wrote it down yesterday or some other time before. This is why I said, when it comes to depression, bro, it will cure it in a couple of days, because when Shaitan puts that thought that, oh, you're valueless, you'll realize, wait, I'm not valueless. That's just Shaitan. He's a liar. Obviously, I have value. That's another thing you'll start to do. You'll start to actually critically analyze your thoughts and be like, wait, that's completely false. I'm valueless. No, prior to this, I went to the gym. I've been starting my business. I'm not valueless. He is. If you need help, fill in the free coaching form that is in the description. I can help you with Shaitan scripting as well as a multitude of other problems. And with that, if you still need help, I recommend you join the Discord and fill in the free coaching form. The Discord will give you the purpose paper chart as well as the Muslim amelioration chart. And the free coaching form, if you are still in a bad place, or if you just want to get advice from me on a Muslim who's also on self-improvement, spiritually, mentally, physically, socially, and I can also help you with Shaitan scripting. And with that, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.